check that boy comes up and check the sound.
Alrighty.
Notification. Dickbot. Fuck's sake, Mark, right?
No,
Dickbot.
Is up on YouTube. Dickbot.
Dickbot strikes again. Oh my goodness.
Sounds good.
How sad is that? One glass. One glass
dear.
only.
One ping.
One cup only.
All right.
One ping.
Baby.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Alrighty. Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all are listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.
Shut up and sit down.
Here we go!
Would you kindly? I think we're just getting started. Medic! I'm a witcher.
I think this is more than you can handle.
He sits on his ass all day.
Let's do this.
Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 768 of the Overseas Connection podcast. Today is the 21st of January, 2024, and I'm coming to you live from the West Wing in lovely Roseville, California. On the show today, I have two lovely individuals. We have, I'll start with Miss Kim Woods. Kim Woods on the podcast.
Howdy, howdy. I'm back. I have not died.
You are back indeed, back from the Black Plague,
Pretty much.
apparently feeling better. Excellent.
Yep.
And then lastly, back from his tour of southern Mexico, Robin Tate on the podcast.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. If I blow away, I've gone to Kansas. We'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, it's strange times indeed. Hey, if you are new to the show, we are a video game podcast. We do this every Sunday, 12 p.m. on the West Coast, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, 2 p.m. in some central time zone thingy bobber, and importantly, 8 p.m. in the UK. So we're on just a little bit earlier, and we will be doing this moving forward, of course, except for when we have dumb time changes, which, well, yeah, the world still does that.
Yep.
We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. So if you are watching us live on any of those channels, please like, subscribe, do all of that business for us. Give us a review. We definitely appreciate that. If you're listening to us on an audio version, because we do put the podcast out for an audio only version, give us a review. Okay, that stuff out of the way. Robin, I do believe we have some birthdays this week. Now, I'm going to get the odd one out of the way right away. Robin Tate on the 23rd. Robin, this is not you, Robin Tate. This is some other random Robin Tate. Can we get some explanation here?
No, there is a Robin Tate having their birthday today. But this Robin Tate.
Today?
Yeah, but not me. Another Robin Tate. A few years ago, I went on a search to try and track down as many Robin Tates as possible. And I'm friends with 6 of them on Facebook. So, and funny enough, one of them has their birthday very close to me, which is today. But there's Robin, that's Robin, and then there's a Robin Raquel Tate. And this Robin Tate's out in Kansas, I believe, the one that's today. And there's a punk rocker type guy in England who's Robin Tate as well. And we have struck up a friendship with the Robin Tates. Now, I haven't got in touch with the Broadway producer, Robin Tate, but he probably is a left-wing loony anyway. The Robin Tates have birthdays this week, and this Robin Tate has a birthday. My son said I'm 36 coming this week, so I don't know what he's after. On the 23rd,
let's be honest, Robin. It's
I
73.
will be 55. That's bad enough, Greg. 55.
Oh, double nickels, Robin.
All
double
fives.
nickels.
55. Yeah, I don't mind.
Anything exciting planned, Robin?
Steak and a blowjob.
Does Judith know about this?
No, she doesn't. So I'd be happy with a steak. No, nothing planned that I'm aware of. So no, you haven't invited me to Las Vegas, so that's not happening. And now that I'm retired, it'll have to wait. We'll see. We get a bus pass to Las Vegas, maybe. Get a Greyhound bus.
I'm looking forward to Robin at the community center playing cards.
Yeah, I'm a vet.
There you go.
I'm a vet now. I'm a catering equipment vet.
Catering equipment vet. Oh, dear Lord. All right. Robin,
dear.
we'll sing a birthday song to you in a moment, but we would be remiss if we didn't sing it and announce everybody else's birthdays. So Dave Avery has a birthday on the 20th. Former show rock star Nicole Radowski on the 24th, a day after yourself. Also, Mr. Eric Piotrowski, also a podcast rock star from the Veteran Gamers, on the 25th. So a lot of January birthdays, which so then we have to kind of backdate to if it was January.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Was that early summertime? Like May time frame?
Yeah. And there was a lot of power cuts in 1969, so I'm a power cut. Because my brother has his birthday. He's older than me, but I'm older than him. So his birthday's on the 29th of February this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's 10 years older than me. But he's now...
But you're older than him.
Yeah, because he only has a birthday once every 4 years.
Fair.
So
that's rough.
So he's about 9 years older than me, and then my sister's 10 odd years older than me, or 11 years older than me. So I'm definitely an afterthought. I'm definitely a power cut. 10 years. You know, I'm a...
You know what? What's funny? So I know of the brother. I don't think I ever knew you had a sister.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about her.
Okay. Oops.
She's
all right.
She's away for a long time.
Robin, play yourself a birthday song, would you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Insert name here. Happy birthday to you.
Gentleman is not recognized.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
We're going to hear that a lot this year. I guarantee that.
This voice. Anyway.
Real fast. Boomer, thank you for the math. Yeah, I'm horrible at math. So, yeah. 9 months would have been April time frame. Your parents were getting it on. Just
yeah,
put that in
baby,
your
that's
mind.
a joke. It's a joke. I'm going to pull out. Aha! No. Honestly, I've got a rubber on. April Fool. Robin.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I didn't even get a middle name. I mean, I was like...
You don't even have a middle name?
No.
That's the weirdest thing
just,
for me, anyway.
Should we give you a middle name? I think we did this before, didn't we?
We did this before, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to call me...
But we can do a new round of it. Would you like a new middle name, Robin?
Well, I think the last time was Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not big on Arthur.
Yeah.
It's very stuffy.
I know, but the initials...
Yeah, rat.
Yeah.
Well, it could be Andrew. Robin Andrew Tate. You're still a rat.
No, I'm okay, thank you. I'm all right. There's not many of us around that don't have a middle name, and anybody that I've met that doesn't have a middle name also feels like they've been left out, like it was an afterthought, or just they couldn't be bothered with you. Look, here's another one. Throw him in the cup there. Throw a bottle in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could go with Robin Ashley Tate, and this way you could assume a new identity if you ever so chose.
Oh. Well, it's funny you should say.
Still being a rat.
Funny you should say that. I've been going through this little thing when I'm driving at the moment. I have this thing called Crew Chief, which is a little add-on, and he's a spotter, so he tells you when you're past cars or how much fuel you've got left. It's like an extra thing, but he calls you your name. There's loads and loads of names.
Right.
And just over the last week, I've been changing my name on the live streams to. I think I've been Rebecca. I think tomorrow I'm going to be Ariel.
Nice.
So I'm going through that. That's quite good. Hey, well done. Hey, Rebecca, get into your groove. Oh, sorry, I don't think it's appropriate, Jim. Anyway, so I can be whatever I want to be. Thank you.
There you go.
Be whatever you want to be. Be all you can be, Robin.
Yes.
Join the army. Let's go. Before we move into story time, Kim, real fast, the chat is on fire, so let's give some shout outs.
Alrighty. RCGC just popped up. Boomer's in there. Hardly Dan. Lord's been in there. Oh, Mark was in there and then left us again to go watch TV with Jenny. So yeah, it's been great. In there. So hardly happy Dan. To have you all here. Lord's been in there.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's dive into some story time.
Hooray
Alistair.
I think he could. I think he could pull it off.
Alistair.
No, Alistair, that is very posh, stuffy.
Robin Alistair Tate.
Now I will say this: when I was out there and I saw Robin in his suit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, Alistair.
Sharp.
Yeah.
Sure. I said when I was younger, I did make up one. I wanted to be Louis. And I wanted like
Louis. Why Louis?
Not Louis as in New York Louis. Robert Louis Stevenson. There was a certain...
Stevenson. You gave yourself a new last name as well?
Robert... okay, so... oh my goodness.
All right.
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Let's get past the naming conventions of Robin Ashley Tate. And let's move on to... let's talk about what's been going on. Kim... You are back from the dead.
I am. Let me tell you, it was touch and go there for a little while, I tell you. Oh, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I've been sick the last couple of weeks. It started out as being like a sinus thing, and then come Saturday, I got hit with a migraine on top of the sinus thing, which I wonder if the sinus thing didn't actually lead to the migraine, but whatever. And then if that wasn't bad enough, Sunday night, after the migraine thing, it was still kind of back there, menacing me. I got an earache. I got an ear infection. On top of the sinus and the migraine, so it's been a hell of a couple of weeks being sick. And as you can tell, I'm still a little coughy and stepped up and whatever. But I'm like 85-90% better than what I was. I don't quite feel like warmed over to death, so I'm back. Now
this is gonna come off a bit wrong, Kim, but you pretty much covered every opening of your head with all of these different cold conditions. I'm just trying to think of. The migraine we could associate, we'll throw with your eyeballs, because when you have a migraine, you don't really want to have your eyes open.
Right.
And then the earache, obviously ears.
Right.
And then the congestion, I guess we could dual it, nose and throat.
Right.
Okay.
And the weirdest thing, and I know this is going to sound gross, but I had snot coming out of my eyeballs. I don't like my tear ducts.
That's taking it to a whole different level, Kim.
I know. I've never heard of that before, but I had it this round. I don't know if I was my sinuses were just so congested, it had nowhere else to go. But yeah, I woke up one morning.
Right now, I'm kind of disgusted. That's nasty sounding.
It is kind of gross because I woke up one morning and my eyes were like matted shut, and I'm like, "What the hell, fresh bullshit is this?" And well, that's what it was. So
breaking news. Ron DeSantis has suspended his campaign.
That seemed like a likely thing to happen, given the fact that he just did not show up in this last. So it's Haley versus Trump. That is it.
Huh.
For the Republican Party. There we go. And what's going to be interesting now, just to totally sidetrack this into this political conversation that we never usually do.
Right.
But Trump's had a big lead, and I think a large part of that big lead has been because
he ain't on Twitter.
What was that?
He isn't on Twitter.
Well, yeah, he isn't on Twitter. No, but also if you think about it, he had a lot of candidates that had 8% here, maybe 10%, 15%. All of the support for those other candidates were pretty much the people that were kind of not Trump.
Yeah, never Trumpers.
Adjacent. So now I think this race is going to tighten up significantly. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Trump is now going to have to start to actually participate in this nomination cycle. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a fascinating, fun watch. Well, I don't necessarily.
I mean, I've read her book. I've and she's a pretty capable woman. She really is.
Yeah.
But she's a hawk, and she'll have that side of the party will come with her as far as military spending, all of that stuff. That's all they will see with her. But I don't think she's a strong enough woman or strong enough person to rule the country.
Well, the irony is Trump actually hired her to be the ambassador. So. It's going to be, like I said, a fun, fascinating journey over the next few months. And then on top of it, everything happening with the Democratic Party. So I'm down for it.
Fun time.
It'll be entertaining.
Fun.
Okay.
Anyway.
So Kim, you're alive. You're well.
I am.
Talk to me about the Steam case review here. Let's have a conversation.
And shout out to Harley Dan because he actually suggested this thing. I got the D-brand case for my Steam Deck, and I got the little what do they call this? The travel cover, and it's nice. It just slides on there and flips on there, and you take her off and slide it back on. Like I said, the only thing I haven't done is put the skin on this thing yet, only because that looked too fiddly at the moment, and I didn't feel like messing with it, so I haven't. But I even got the little thumbstick cover things that make the thumbstick a little better. So yeah, it's nice. Like I said, I've got the whole kit and caboodle. It cost me like $95 for everything, but it's really nice. There's a kickstand on the back, so that's handy. I don't know. It's
with a
definitely
proper controller then.
Huh?
You can sit with a proper controller then.
Yeah, right. I mean, I even put the kickstand when I'm sitting playing with it, like in my lap. I'll have the kickstand up and I'll sit there, and it's nice. But it for $95 for everything. Like I said, I haven't messed with the skin yet, but it looks like it's pretty easy. I also got the screen protectors, which thank God they send you 2 of them because I did kind of screw up the first one. But let's face it, in my house, between the cat hair and the dust and everything else, I'm bound to fuck something up. So
There you
but
go.
it's nice.
I do like that it lowers the profile down on that.
Right.
Of course, the only downside is you still need to be able to store the cords and things like that somewhere.
Well, right, but if you're like me, I mean, like I said, I don't plan on taking it anywhere. Oh, hey, It does. As Harley Dan just says, you can store SD cards in the kickstand, and he is correct because I just looked. Yep, you can put 4 of them in there. But if you're like me and you use it at home, I don't really need the charger and stuff around, so this is really, really handy because that case can be the one that came with it is really big and bulky, and this makes it a hell of a lot easier to carry and whatnot. So if you're looking, for something like this for your Steam Deck,
I might just switch over to that. I put my Steam Deck in my work laptop bag all the time, and the problem is it is bulky. And so this would help cut that down, and then I could just put the power cord in my bag. It's going to take up less room not being in the case, so that's kind of nice.
And I found my phone charger actually works with my Steam Deck to charge it. So, I mean, and I always have my phone charger close by because,
I do find you have to be careful with the chargers that you try and use with the Steam Deck. Some are just not powerful enough.
Right.
And so the deck will tell you, too. It's like one of the funniest things ever was I was charging my Steam Deck and I started playing it, and I'm noticing the power going down as I'm playing, even though it's plugged in. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. It's underpowered.
Which I have to give you props too, because when we talked about this initially, you're like, go with the Steam Deck. And you were right, because I played this thing a whole hell of a lot since I've got it. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. As a matter of fact, with the money I plunked into Steam buying games for this thing, it's almost ridiculous. My poor Xbox has pissed at me probably at this point. So
it just opens up the library of what you can play and what you can adventure out into. So
So it's been a nice, as Robin would say, it's a nice piece of kit. So
excellent.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're on the market for like I said, a cover and thing for your Steam Deck for $95, I mean, you could get it cheaper, I'm sure, but I just got the whole enchilada because it seemed like it was cheaper in the long run. So go for it. D-brand, it's really good. So
all right,
is enchilada? That's a Mexican sort of wrap thing?
It is. It is.
Yes.
The whole enchilada. I mean, do you think they're hard to eat?
Enchiladas? No, they're delicious.
No.
So you can have a whole enchilada.
Yes.
Would that be being greedy if you had the whole? I mean, should you share an enchilada?
I don't think so. I mean, if you want to, sure, but I wouldn't.
Okay. All right. Just I was wondering, it's like because you can have the whole enchilada. I mean, is it a debate when you're having enchiladas? You're going to eat all of that. You're not going to share it.
Well,
you certainly could share an enchilada.
But I'm not, because I'm a pig.
Yeah.
And,
I don't like sharing my enchiladas, but I do like to have the whole enchilada and not just part of the enchilada.
Okay. Just want to clarify the enchilada thing.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's clarification in. Also in, Kim, don't die on us. New calendar.
Yes. Oh, yes. The new calendar is in. It is here. You probably won't be really shocked. It is from my buddy, Mole Cosplay. And if you can tell by the screen here, which I can't because the stream is like 15 seconds. Anyway, that is the guy from Valhalla. What's it? Ivor?
All right.
think is
Angry-
yeah. This,
Angry
and this
Viking.
was,
Ivor
yes,
from
and this is
Ghostbusters
definitely
2.
a darker, a darker picture. They could have lightened that up slightly, I think, and it would have been better. But he does a whole lot of different, because there's Arthur Morgan. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's my other calendar. Sorry, no naked chicks with nipples hanging out this time because, well, I have children running around and I don't have to explain to them why the hell, their aunt has naked chicks on the wall.
For the record, hold on a second. So, naked chicks with nipples hanging out is not appropriate. However, firemen barely dressed with pussies is okay.
Well, okay, yeah, but there's no penis or anything, so I think we're good. I mean,
all right.
CP Matthew in the chat. Hey, Kim,
Yes.
do you have stallions as bed sheets? An
sorry,
undersheet on your
stallions?
bed. Are there horses on your bed sheets?
I do not have horses on my bed sheets. I have a blanket with horses on it. But,
Orange with horses This is like a sunset. I just thought it's
Yeah.
the wild stallion bed just behind you there. Just
yeah. What about it?
okay, all right. So, well, you've had worse. Okay,
I
cool.
have, Speaking of horses, and this will go along with. But anyway, yes, that's my other calendar that I will go with the firefighter calendar. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, sometimes I just let the conversation do its thing.
I know, right? Other than that, we've had a little bit of bad news over this winter. Of course, last week we got really cold. It was like negative 45. Yada yada yada, and it was not a good week for us. I have this horse. His name is Smokey. I've had him for like 30 years, which if you've ever, know anything about horses, 30 years is pretty good for a horse. But he couldn't handle this last burst of cold we had. So sadly, we lost Smokey last week. So he's gone to the big hayfield in the sky, or however you want to put it.
Oh, I was going to say the glue factory, but no, that would be wrong, wouldn't it?
He didn't go there. No.
Hamburgers?
Oh, gross.
Hamburger. I went to hamburger.
That's terrible. So anyway, poor Smokey is no longer with us, and Dad took it pretty hard.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
We could be
Smokey.
more sympathetic to you losing your horse.
Yeah, but your horse has a
it is
personality. Yeah,
It
that has
is,
a
yeah.
personality.
He was a pet. I know he's a
Yes.
big pet, but he was a pet. And I mean, I've had him since he was born because he was out of
I was
my
just gonna say,
mare.
when you've had him that long.
Yes.
I'm sorry
So-
to hear that.
It's all right. I mean, I've known for the last couple of years he's gotten pretty rough, and I knew that it was bound to happen eventually, and I knew last week with it getting as cold as it was, there was a pretty good chance. So it was. Dad took it. As I should say, Dad took it a lot harder than I did, but
yeah.
I'm used to losing cats and stuff like that, so I kind of let it roll off me. And
Things
he's
get knocked over
31 or
all the
30
time.
or 31. That was pretty good for a horse. So.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. Other than that, we had a pickup get burned up. It caught fire. Dad was trying to start it and trying to get it out of the snow, and apparently in the process of doing that, some wiring had shorted out underneath the dash. None of us knew it. He left it running so it would, stay running because it was cold out. And he went to go do something else, and when he come back, he said something didn't look right. So he went to open the door, and sure enough, there was fire under the dash. It had melted the dash. It flared up and busted the windshield and a whole bunch of stuff. So he, burned up a truck. So I have a country song now of dead horses and burned up pickup trucks. So
Okay, now this all makes sense. I was really trying to figure out in the show notes, dead horses and burned pickup trucks, and you said new country song.
God,
Yep.
yeah, it's so right. There's a song in that.
Yeah.
get Chris Stapleton or somebody to write something up. I'm sure we got something going here. But
I
yeah.
think you should write it
Dead
and sell it,
horses
Tim.
and burnt
Write the
pickup
song and sell it.
trucks, not in our
But,
time.
Yeah, my life was a country song last week because that negative 45 degrees kind of hurt a lot of things. So
Yeah.
and then yesterday I broke our water hydrant in our yard. So
It could be worse. You get raccoons in the loft again.
right.
How's the cat hotel going?
The cat hotel's fine, but we're supposed to get ice tonight, so I had to go ahead and get the creepers out and put them on my boots so I don't slip and break your hip or something.
Wow.
Because me and ice do not work out so well. So this
I
should be
know that
interesting.
one.
Yeah.
That'll be on next week's show. How did Kim manage with the ice this week? Anyway, that's it for me. I'll stop being the Debbie depressing today because between being sick and my horse dying and my pickup burning up, I mean, how much worse can it possibly get?
You indeed are a full country song.
At this point.
All right, Fancy Pants, let's talk.
Yep.
Robin.
Okay, so Yeah, I'm looking for a new car. So things are coming to a close with my old company, and I had a meeting with them Friday week ago. I think it got a little bit hot and heavy with solicitors, and they reached out to me to say, could we meet? So I went in a public place, the same coffee shop, funny enough, that I was offered the big, massive promotion just, and the MD was there. I said, by the way, this is the exact same table just a few weeks ago that you wanted me. So a big chunk of money landed in my account on Friday, and there's another big chunk to arrive at the end of this month. So that is all getting sorted quite amicably enough. I legally have to say they're the best company in the world, and they treated me well, and they've done right by me legally. I have to say that right now. I can't say anything else. The documents I'm going to sign. So they're fantastic.
Nothing but positive.
Positive, wonderful management, fantastic company, the best time ever. So I'm searching for a car, and I had it in my head that I was going to buy something big and fancy, and then just over the last few weeks, I very rarely am using a car. So I thought a golf cart. No.
You would love it.
So I think, well, get something small. Judith has a big 7-seater, and maybe I'll get something fun or something small. Maybe a Mini.
Right.
But I think but it'll be a Cooper S with a soft top cabriolet. So they could have fun in the summer and whiz it around like a go-kart. I don't know. Maybe something like that. I don't know. So I'm searching around like mad. And Facebook Marketplace and car dealers, I don't want to, I don't care. I don't want to spend lots of money on it just for a little while. But Facebook Marketplace is a cesspit of scams. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, there's one company
especially for high-end items like that. Yeah.
But just, coming out tonight looking at, there's one there. That's the sort of thing. It's a Volkswagen EOS, which has this beautiful automatically folding roof. Like a transformer. Fantastic little thing. Would do me nicely for a year or so. And then I look at the low mileage. Okay, fair enough. And then I look at that person, and they listed like 50 cars today. And I'm going, this is just a scam. It's ridiculous. It's just all over the place. Anyway, so I have now got until the end of February to sort myself out with the car. So it has to have at least 4 seats.
If I can, Robin, if I may, let me just indulge this conversation for a moment. You will be 55.
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to buy a Porsche.
You are now crossing into the appropriate age range. Yeah, no. The appropriate age range for you and Christopher Matthew can back this up. Not because of age, but just because of the stigmatism that's associated with it. But you are at the age now that a Corvette is appropriate.
Makes them wet. Well, there was a Mustang I was looking at. I mean, Corvettes and Mustangs in the UK are not really easy to come by.
Right. This is why it would set you apart.
If it wasn't
it is a running joke out here. So whenever you see a Corvette, 99% of the time, the person driving that vehicle is an older gentleman.
It's not just a Corvette. Over here, if it's a Porsche, it's a Ferrari. It's somebody over 50 that are driving them. Other than that, it's a drug dealer. I mean, if we didn't have the kids, and we didn't have the foster kids, I would be out and I would buy a Porsche straight away. Just there'd be no question about it, and that will come.
Right.
But I need something. 4 seats are the minimum that I can get away with.
Okay.
So an Audi TT, maybe 4 seats.
Right.
A nice Jaguar sports car that I'm looking at as well. They have 4 seats. Right. But again, I don't really care. So if I'm going to buy something small that Judith will drive as well, I want it to be fun, and then it has to be a cabriolet, soft top, so we can have a bit of fun in the summer. Anyway, so that'll get sorted. Okay, so in late December, I started streaming on a job sort of way, like full time on several days, nighttime stuff, all very regimented. But my main wheel died. It had an intermittent fault, and I had to go back to a very basic Logitech wheel over the last few weeks. And I ordered a new wheel from Dallas in Texas, from a company called GSI, and a new base. And the lead time was now running out into March, and I had to cancel it there last week, and I got the same stuff from England, and I upgraded the wheel again, but it has now arrived, and this is the wheel. Now, for those of you that can't see, this little piece of
It's very pretty. There's a lot of buttons.
Screen, gorgeous, heavy.
Yeah.
$2,000.
Right. Holy shit.
And then the bit that it connects to is another $2,000.
Yeah.
So yes, a very, very beautiful thing. And
Don't tell Tony about this, for God's sake.
Do not.
So I've got one cam set up for tomorrow because I'm streaming tomorrow, and it's the wheel cam because it's a thing of it's called the GSI Hyper XP1. What a name! It has 27 standard buttons which you can shift to double that. It's actually there's not much better than it. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow really taking it out for a spin.
How many buttons do you actually use?
Quite a lot actually.
Okay.
ABS, traction control, brake bias, all of your stuff for your pit stops, your pit limiter, your push to talk button, gear up, gear down, and then your when you're adjusting for pits, if you want more fuel, less fuel, wet tires, dry tires as you're driving. There's actually quite a lot. Not as many as that, but a lot. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm very, very pleased with it, but I mean that's great. But the base thing behind it's called a SemiCube base. It's called a SemiCube 2 Pro base. That's the real star.
Right.
So we had a race on Thursday night at Silverstone in the wet, and do you know a piece of wet of say pavement that has been painted white? You know the curbing at the side of the racetrack, or if you come across in a swimming pool or somewhere like that, or a hotel or anywhere at all, a piece of pavement which has been painted and it's wet and it's really slippy, and you imagine going over a car and that, and you feel it slipping away on you. I can feel that now.
Okay.
So the Logitech has done me really well. We raced with it last week with LFM. We did very well, some very, very good times, and it's just a matter of getting used to having no feedback, but learning how to use it. With the difference in this, so you can still do really fast times with the really basic stuff, but with this stuff here, you feel an awful lot more. It's more real. So, you can use a broken controller and still do really well, or you can use the fancy Xbox controller and it feels nicer in your hand. It's the same sort of idea, but yeah, so lovely. So that's very nice. That's happened. And subscriber count today, 666. The number of the beast. Just what?
666.
Yep.
Okay.
Other stuff then. I finished Reacher, the latest Reacher series last night, and enjoyed it.
Was it just 8 episodes, or did they actually release a 9th?
I don't know. That finished. I don't know. It was 8 or 9. I'm not sure. I like this guy.
The final episode, at least the last episode I saw of Reacher, it ends on a cliffhanger.
No, this didn't end on a cliffhanger.
Okay, so there must be a 9th episode, and then I need to catch up on that.
Yeah, so it ends the way it begins. Put it that way. I always knew that was going to happen. But I liked it. There was no fluff, no woke nonsense. It was just good TV. The acting maybe not the best in the world, but just good TV. So yeah, that's good. I liked it. Good stuff. Right. Expeditionary Force, our good friend, that's Filthy Monkey Beer Can book.
Yes.
This is now book 16, I believe. It's getting ridiculous. And I finished it. Okay. I finished it through the week. And it was nice to go back. Is it getting long in the tooth? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Shmaybe. But it's still good. And it's set up. I mean, they had the opportunity to wrap it all up. This one... Now, the Expeditionary Force, you've heard us talking about this before. This is about the crazy AI beer can that talks about humans as filthy monkeys, and Joe Bishop, the main character. Well, where it left off, they'd killed the bad guys, everything was good. Joe had retired. He had moved out to a different planet. He has married his lovely girlfriend. They have kids now. The kids are up a bit, and bad shit goes down. And he has to go back to work and save the universe once again. And but they've left it again with an open-ended ending, of course, some more. So they had the opportunity. I would have been happy if they had left it it was
Right.
lovely to go back to Skippy Stan again. But yeah, that's good. You'll just continue to have my money. Just
Okay. Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got credits waiting to pick up the latest book. I mean, it is an entertaining series. I think first 10 books by far more entertaining to me than the last 5 or 6 now.
Yeah. But really good.
Just
Still,
because
I just love the humor.
Yeah.
It's old humor, and how many more silly things can they do? So I mean, even
it's
Skippy,
the interaction of Bishop and Skippy. That's really.
And Skippy's getting older now as well. So
okay,
and more insecure and stuff. Yeah, so it's good that way. It's maturing that way. But I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it. Yeah, they need to wrap it up. But it must be a cash cow for them. But then again, the only people the people that are buying. I mean, new listeners aren't going to buy book 16.
No, but you know, like us,
but there must be enough.
That first omnibus, which is books 1 through 3.
Yeah, brilliant.
And then they're like, "Oh, I'll just keep getting them." Okay.
Now
excellent.
the final thing that I've been watching today, and I'm watching bits and pieces of it in and around kids, and I haven't still to finish it, and I probably watched it many moons ago. Was a very old Western with Charles Bronson called "Once Upon a Time in the West."
Yep.
And I ended up watching it because a YouTube clip came up of the opening scene, and it's was it Oscar Moscone or the whatever his name, the famous director, Leone and all those. The Moscone is the soundtrack, and anyway, the famous guys that did the cowboy westerns. And you know, at that time, those movies were funded by American money and American actors and everything. It was brilliant. And every shot you look at this, it is postcard perfect. It is beautiful, and they take time. These days everything is so fast. But they take time with the scene, and he just knew how to frame a backdrop, and it's just a wonderful movie, and it has some humor in it. It's absolutely superb. Charles Bronson. Anyway, about railroads coming across America, and it's just a fantastic film, and I've thoroughly enjoyed. There's 2 versions. There was the one that was released in Europe, which is 166 minutes long, and then for the Americans, and it was a massive hit in Europe, all the way through Europe. And then for the American market, they cut it back by 40 minutes, cut a lot of the stuff out, made it shorter, and it was a flop. And I've got the 166 minute one, and it is just lush. I just love these. Some of these old westerns are fantastic. Anyway, that's me.
All right.
So yes, and finally, every day's a Friday. I found I'm not working now. I mean, this week for me I would be in Italy right now. I wouldn't be at the show. I would be at the ice cream convention in Italy right now at the stage. I would have had a big sales meeting, which I didn't do. And you think I've got
do you think you're going to miss the travel?
Yes, a wee bit. Okay. I do catch myself the odd time going, yeah, I like that. And yeah, and I had that. And airport lounges and traveling properly and nice hotels.
I do enjoy traveling. Oddly, for work events in particular, it's never a stressful travel for me. It's enjoyable.
Well, I don't know
how to describe.
Well, I mean, I'll be in Germany in October, so and that's a work trip. So that'll be for the convention over there, and we'll maybe do a few more bits and pieces. I'm in Italy in August, so I'll still be traveling a bit. So we'll see how it goes. But it is strange how quickly you lose track of the days.
I can understand that.
And I don't have loads of time.
No. Your home life is a busy life.
Busy life,
and
yeah.
And so obviously, being at home, you probably are now having to take on responsibilities you didn't have in the past.
I cooked lunch today. I've done a chicken casserole today while Judith was out. I made it completely. Just give her a break from that. So this morning I got up and they all went out to church, and I had the wee ones up, and I done the ironing. I cleaned out the fire. I set the fire. I made the dinner. I got the kids dressed. I got myself showered and shaved and ready to go for Judith coming back. I vacuumed the downstairs house. It's just ongoing. I'm a man. I'm proud of it.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes. Anyway, that's me. Life is good.
All right. Awesome. Well, okay. So a lot of this past week was based, travel for me. I went up to my mom's and spent the middle of the week up there helping her out with financial things for my dad's passing. That it is amazing how much you can do in terms of making announcements and telling companies that someone has passed. But there still is limitations because you need the official certificates from the coroner to then pass on to them. And it's interesting because some companies are tied into systems where they get alerts from the actual coroner's office. So a company like ARP, and Medicare, they were alerted once the paperwork was filed through the system into there. One of the credit card companies was also alerted, but others weren't. And it's just, it always kind of strikes me as we're getting into this more and more digital age. We're all connected. It's been kind of interesting to see how that is starting to transition a little bit. Obviously still very difficult, very emotional. My mom is doing well with everything as well as can be expected. But I will be going back up there this upcoming week. I'm planning, weather permitting, cross fingers, I will travel up Monday evening and I'll be there through till Wednesday afternoon, and then I come back. So it's now becoming a bit of a balancing act because I have to help Cindy as well here with our son.
Yeah.
So I can't devote a lot of time being up there. So I'm kind of yo-yoing back and forth.
It's hard.
The good thing is it's only a 2.5 hour drive. So it's not super far, but it's far enough that it's not easy.
Right.
But so that was most of last week. And I did get in some us time. So last night, we actually have a sleepover for Colin. So he actually has been at his daycare center yesterday and today. And so Cindy and I were able to break away and we went to our favorite place, the Roseville Opera House, where we can see they have all kinds of great cover bands that will come in there and just play some great live rock and roll. And so last night, we were going to see a U2 tribute band. And been hearing good things about this band. And to my surprise, there was a Cars cover band called Used Cars, and they kicked things off, played for a good 2 hours, and were fantastic. And I love the Cars music, so it was just like nostalgia, just throwing me back to the 80s and just the goodness of the Cars music. And then the U2 band came on, and the band itself was good. And interestingly enough, the drummer from the Cars band ended up playing in the U2 band. He was helping them out because I guess they were a bit shorthanded. But the singer for the U2 band, you could just tell vocally he just didn't have the chops. He couldn't carry the big long notes. And so there were numerous times where I'm watching and they have the audio up and they have a little bit of backup chorus going in there as well. And you could just see him cutting his own voice short, but allowing kind of the music to play through it and carry. So, one good band, one bad band, but we had a blast. It was a great night out. And we drank a lot. Cindy went toe to toe with me, which that surprised me. We started off, we had 2 lemon drops at the restaurant apiece. Then we came back home, we kind of were getting ready, and I made up a vodka Red Bull, and I asked her if she wanted it, and she said, you know what, I'll take one. And so I gave her one. Then we Ubered to the Opera House, which was smart. And then at the Opera House, we ended up having 3 more there, but they were tall vodka Red Bulls. And I was surprised when she said, I'll take another. And I was like, okay. And this morning, I did my Party Smart pill. She took one as well, but it only worked for one of us, apparently. She woke up in rough shape, but we had a great time. And then lastly, I've been listening to an audiobook from Arnold Schwarzenegger. So this is called Just Be Useful. And it's a really interesting insight look into just kind of his perspective, reflection on his life, his journey. And he covers, and he actually does the reading of it, which is kind of nice. So it's not only his, in a sense, autobiography, but it's not so much an autobiography as it is a biographical telling of his backstory, but intertwined into this phrase of just be useful that his father had really instilled him with. And so, so it's just great. It's very inspirational. And there's times where, I'm sure people will hear what he's saying, because there's times where he's just kind of calls you out. It's like, if you're doing this, some of it's about the gym, some of it's about your work habits. And he's like, you're not putting out the effort you should put out. But I'm very much enjoying it. Right now he was covering through his time in California being governor. And that's an interesting time period for Arnold Schwarzenegger. But one of the the other interesting things about Arnold was just how much he was in tune with the path he wanted to take in his life, and how he didn't want to, Twins, the movie Twins, this is a side note, Twins, they had to come to multiple studios to try and get that movie made. Nobody wanted to make that movie because they did not think Arnold Schwarzenegger could be comedic. And ultimately, Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the director's name is I'm forgetting right now, but they basically told the studio they would make the film with no salary. All they wanted was royalties, basically coming back on it. And it was, and to this day, still the most successful movie Arnold Schwarzenegger ever made from a box office perspective. So anyway, just again, interesting stuff. And that actually really helped put Arnold onto the map. I know he didn't want to be just labeled as an action star, but let's be honest, he still is just an action star.
Yeah. There's a really good documentary that came out about him quite recently. It's just well worth a watch, and it was very, very focused and very, very clever man. Got into property. He's
amazingly smart individual.
He was a millionaire through property long before he was a millionaire through movies. So very, very driven, probably a bit ruthless here and there, but a very, very switched on guy. And flip me over. If we were half of us were half as driven as he was, we'd have big muscles.
Yeah, 100%. The other interesting thing, he does talk about some of his missteps. He talks about the affair he had and how damaging that was to his family. So just be useful, or it might be called Be Useful, but either way, just look for it. It's on Audible. It's out there. It's fantastic. Listen.
All right, good.
Okay. That's it for me. Let's move on to some. We do have some community questions.
Okay.
Before we move on.
Okay.
So we're going to include this in story time until we get a proper jingle for it. So two great questions.
Thank you very much. Love it.
That works.
I like it. John Wilson sent
sure.
a Discord question to us. So we do have in our Discord a section for questions for the show.
Discord, future.
It is the future until they lay people off. Right. I just finished reading my mate's first novel. If you had to write a book, what would it be about?
God.
So that's a deep question. And at first I was struggling with it, but then I think I know what I would write a book about.
What would you write a book about, Greg?
So I think my book of choice would be about being a special needs parent.
Oh.
Because, we hear, and Kim, I mean, you might fully understand this. I think often the conversation around special needs really focuses in on the individual with special needs or disabilities. And that is rightfully so. Don't get me wrong. They deserve all of the attention. However, there is really not a lot out there about the parent side of it and the challenges and the struggles of being a parent of a special needs child. And I think some of that comes from people not wanting to make those with disabilities feel guilty.
Right.
because, you don't want to hear about the challenges your parents had trying to raise you as a special needs kid, whatever. But I think that would be where I would write my book. I think that's what I would potentially have a book about, and just talking about the challenges, the triumphs, the just the life-changing moments that it is.
I would read that book, and a lot of your challenges were probably very like mine for 15 odd years there with Glenn.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
It's ongoing with Glenn as well.
You've walked that walk.
And still do. Still do.
Yeah.
So he's, yeah. Okay, what about you, Kim? What would you write about?
I don't know. Maybe just some of the weird and random things that happen in my life, like, raccoons falling from the ceiling, a truck that burns up in the middle of winter, just weird and random stuff that normal people, they just be like, really, that happened to you? And I'm like, yeah,
You have had quite a few tales, blowing away raccoons with a shotgun. That ranks up there.
Yeah, just the weird and random. I mean, like, I could tell stories of my childhood. Like, when I was a kid and I was a baby, we lived in a house that wasn't exactly the greatest thing in the world. And my dad would tell me stories of nights he would sit up with a pistol and chase the rats away so they wouldn't climb in the crib with me. And just weird, random things that have happened that people may not, wouldn't necessarily believe. But it's shit that's happened. So that would probably be it. Because, I mean, like you said, I could talk about my disability and how I've dealt with that, but I don't think anybody wants to read a whole entire book about, I can walk through the snow, but the ice will make me, slip and bust my ass. I don't know if people really want to hear that, but just some of the weird and random things that have happened in my life. Like I said, who expects a raccoon to fall from your ceiling one morning like you're drinking coffee, or
honestly,
whatever.
that could be the entire book, Kim. I would read that book.
Yeah.
Right?
Coffee, raccoon, and a shotgun. That's
I've had bats come into my house in the middle of the night and be flying over my head, and it's just like, really? Does this happen to everybody or just me? So
by the way, just you, Kim. Just you.
Probably. By the way, I don't know if y'all can hear me what's going on in the background, but I think Dad's loudly talking to someone, and I've got Anthony and Owen fighting over the Xbox. So
no,
we hear nothing. That's
good. The mic is working.
Love it. All right, Robin, what about you? What would you write about?
You can buy my book on Amazon right now. It's a coffee table book, and it has 365 pages, and it is all about my sexual conquests from my first fumbles as a 12-year-old right through to the first time that I had coitus. Right through to all the experiences a young man had. I'm finding it hard to get past page number 3, but it's a work in progress. Yeah.
For the record, I would never write that book.
I would love to write that book. I would love to go, Karen. This is what happened. That's what happened that night. This is how we got there. It was Meatloaf. Yeah. Paradise by Dashboard Light. Yes, it was in the back of my car that didn't have reclining seats. Yes, that was it. Yes, that happened. I would love to do that, but you could never write that book. You could never write that book. I would love to write that book. It would get me in so much trouble. I would love to
dire
write that
consequences.
Book. I would love to. I'd love to go through the list. The list. And
Judith would love to go through that list.
Oh, wow. Divorce. What other book? I don't know. Has my life been interesting? I've done some really cool stuff, and whether that's interesting to people or not, I don't know. My life has had twists and turns, ups and downs, from starting off as a sales guy right through to having my own business, and that going a bit pear-shaped for one reason or another, and then reinventing myself and doing it again and again, and we're reinventing myself again. I don't know. Would that be interesting to anybody? I don't know. So what have I done with my life? The fostering has been a big part of our lives now for 17 years. Yeah. Funny, we were out for dinner on Friday evening. It was our Christmas do. Probably the worst meal that I've had in such a long time. It was bloody awful. But we won the table quiz. We didn't cheat.
The important part.
That's 2 years in a row. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Just
okay.
No, not. I don't know.
Robin's memoirs.
Fostering life and how it changes a family and all that sort of stuff. It would be interesting to people that would be thinking about getting into that and a real business, like not clinical, but here's the warts and all stuff. So, because there's lots of stuff we can't talk about. There's lots of stuff we're not allowed to talk about, warts and all. Right. It has to be a positive front. So
I think it would be interesting in a like a post-mortem of, you get out of fostering, so then you could really kind of lift the curtain, talk about the negative things, talk about the things you weren't allowed to talk about while you were being a foster parent. That to me would be kind of interesting, because there are some really tough conversations you've had to have that you can never talk about, especially while you're quote unquote part of the system.
Yeah. Boomer has the title shapeshifter, chameleon, lounge lizard. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Very good. So, good question.
I like that one.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for that question. We also have a question from Lord. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Now, we'll go reverse order. We'll start with Robin.
America.
Robin, anywhere in the world and why?
America, probably Florida or Tennessee. One of the two, probably.
Okay.
I just love America. You can't have tell. My wife thinks I'm part of America. I think most people do. I just like the American lifestyle. I like the climate. It'd be America. Absolutely.
Now, interestingly enough, I met a guy last night. Was one of our first Uber driver, Christopher. He was from London. He's lived here now for 18 years, I think he was saying. He said he would never go back.
Yeah.
He's similar. He fell in love with the American lifestyle and came over, and he's lived a full life so far in the U.S. I
fancy somewhere like Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, out in the countryside. Somewhere in the country.
Right.
Up in the mountains. Florida is a different lifestyle altogether. Which would be just retirement, snowbird, all that there, whatever you would call them. But somewhere like Tennessee with a bit of land, that sounds perfect to me.
Okay, all right. Kim, what about you? Anywhere in the world, and why?
Well, I don't know. It depends. Can I take my family with me? Because
obviously, yes. You can take your family with you, and money is no element, no cost. So this is again, you are able to set yourself up anywhere in the world.
I definitely think I'd go somewhere warmer for sure. Cause
that would be my first guess.
Yeah, because as much as I like living in Missouri as it is, I hate the winter. So I definitely think I could go somewhere where there isn't a winter. That would be nice. I mean, assuming I could take my family with me, because if not, as much as I hate being cold, I'd have to stay here because I'm not going somewhere without them. I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'd do well. I might, but I'm in it this far, so I guess I might as well be stuck. But yeah, I think if all that were true, I think I'd definitely have to move somewhere where it was warmer, more than it is here. Because this sucks. I'm reminded every year when we have a bad winter of why the hell I'm still living here, and why don't I go somewhere where it's warmer. But I guess it's family, and that's what you do.
Yep.
So yeah.
Now, if you were to move, say, just south to get yourself to a little bit warmer climate,
right?
So what would that look like for you? Where would you stop that needle if you're going south?
I don't know. I think somewhere like Arizona, maybe New Mexico, somewhere in there. So, but
Arizona,
then I've heard, winters might be bad there too. I don't know, but I think it would be warmer.
Desert climates are always interesting because they do get extreme cold. You don't think of that, but they do. I think Arizona is a great call. I've been in like Scottsdale. It's really, really nice. Well, there's nice parts of it.
Right.
Obviously, every city has its warts, so to speak. But that was one of the things that stood out to me is like maybe a Scottsdale. But I'll say it would be one of two places. It would be back to San Diego, which I love San Diego. Wonderful, wonderful climate. Not too hot, but very beach-like weather. Or I would go to Maui and live the island life.
I do kind of like that idea too. Yeah.
I don't think I could go to a different country.
Right.
Outside of, say like the UK, an English speaking country where I would not have a challenge. But I also, just from a resources and comfort perspective, I like what I like in the U.S. That's going to sound a little bit snobby, but I mean, I don't think I could do like a Jamaica.
Right.
Because you know what? I want my In-N-Out burger. I want
I hear you.
The comforts of a more modern civilization.
Yep.
Not trying to say Jamaica's third world, but they have their limitations there. And I would stay U.S., but definitely a little bit warmer climate year round.
Right.
So San Diego and Maui, those would be my preferences. And I might lean San Diego. Just because the whole volcano thing and burning of the island is not terribly
that's kind of like me in Florida. I kind of like the idea of going to Florida, like the Florida Keys or somewhere like that. But then the whole hurricane thing happens, and lately they seem to be having a whole lot of hurricanes. And
it's the same.
I
just soon avoid that. So
let's just all meet up in San Diego. Come on.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for that question, Lord. That was great.
Apparently, Boomer agrees with San Diego too. So
yeah, it's pretty nice. And in the chat, anybody else, if you want to throw out where you would choose to move to, we'll take those suggestions. We'll put it on Robin's to-do list.
Oh, Hardly Dan says Bali.
Been there,
Bali.
done that. Yep. Yeah, that's cool, but no.
Cool to visit.
Yep.
And that's the thing. A lot of like foreign land, it's cool to visit, but I just don't.
He wants to surf every day and live in a shack on the beach.
Yeah. Well, that's Dan. That's
Just don't get crabs.
Unless you're eating them.
Right.
But don't eat those crabs.
No.
Okay. We've gone the wrong direction. Let's talk video games.
Shall we play a game?
I want to play a game.
You are one pathetic loser. Just a side note, CP Matthew says North Carolina, and that's a pretty good call. I've been to Raleigh, and I like North Carolina in particular is nice. So yeah. Okay. Let's talk about games. Kim, well, you know what? We've run through the most of the month. I don't think we need to talk about the free games. We've talked about it before. So let's just talk about what we've been playing. Okay. Let's start with you.
Alrighty. I haven't been playing a lot because, of course, I've been on death's door for the past couple of weeks. But I did manage to squeeze out a little COD multiplayer for a little bit. I played Party Animals with Tony because he was here almost the week because, of course, they haven't had school because of all the snow days. So we played a bunch of Party Animals and Cat Quest on the Steam Deck because I had a wild streak and bought Cat Quest and Cat Quest 2 on Steam here a while back when they were like $5. So I've been playing that. Like I said, I've been playing a shitload of Steam Deck. So
I was just going to say the Cat Quest is not just solely on your deck. As we watch cats walking behind you, you literally live Cat Quest, Kim.
It's my life, yeah. Except they don't give me any loot or anything. I just have to clean up after them, all that bullshit. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I've been doing this week. I feel better. So maybe next week it'll be a little more, but it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robin, I'm gonna go next if you don't mind. I'm gonna talk about Pal World.
Oh yes.
Mark farted this up. And I then took that lead, and I decided the wee hours of this morning, while hangovers were happening, to download this game to the Xbox, and then I fired up Pal World.
So sell me this game. Would I play it?
Maybe, Kim, you might play this game.
All right.
So it is Pokemon-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been the rage, and we'll talk about it in the news. It has been all the rage this past week. And you have this character, you start in this land. I honestly wasn't paying attention really to the story, but there's a single player story kind of setting. You can play it multiplayer as well, which basically is kind of a co-op environment. And then the premise is you are building stuff. Mm-hmm. So you build a base, you build it up, You upgrade things like your weapons, and you then catch these different creatures, and they can become your basically kind of like Pokemon that you can then use to help you fight other animals, other creatures. There's something addictive about it. So the constant building, the constant upgrading, just the improvement. They've got all those little catches, those little things that, hey, your stats improved. You can now build this, or you can now try and capture these types of creatures. So it has all of those trappings. It plays very easy. I will say the tutorial isn't like the greatest. It tries to handhold you, but again, it doesn't force you to do things per se, but there's little checkbox things that you're doing within your tutorial. So once you do something, it checks the box. I did find some of the stuff a little confusing at first, but as you start getting the hang of things, as you start building, it kind of reminds me a lot, in now that I think about it, of Grounded. In that, you have your base building elements, so you can start creating your own base, and you have traps you can put out to kind of protect the base and things of that nature. But the difference between Grounded and this is not only are you going out and killing the creatures or, fighting them off that are in the lands around you, but you can capture them, and then they become basically part of your party. And so they kind of fight alongside of you. The other cool thing is they actually, they will then scavenge for resources for you. So I basically knocked out 2 cats, put them into my party. And I say cats, I don't know what the hell they're called, but they look like cats. They're like pink cats. Pink cats. There's very much an anime-esqueness to this game. But these cats now, I'm watching them just running around my base area, just hammering on trees, hammering on rocks, and then you have to go pick up the stuff that they unearth, I guess the way to put it. I think there's a way to get them to bring the stuff back to you.
Right.
I haven't figured that out yet.
Gotcha.
So far, so good.
Right.
I don't know how long I'll stick with this game. So far, I'm enjoying it. It is an early access. It's in Game Pass, so it's an early access on Steam. So I think it's relatively cheap on Steam. I don't know the cost of it though,
maybe
but
like
it is on Game Pass as well. So you can go out and check it. But I think the thing is, this is like the first successful Pokemon-esque like game to hit outside of Pokemon. There have been other attempts at these types of games on the consoles and on PC. They haven't really had the success, and I'm wondering if part of the success of this game is that base building element.
Right.
That hasn't been present in past Pokemon games, at least as far as I know. So you're literally being able to kind of create these bases and upgrade weapons, and so it has those kind of RPG elements that hasn't been part of Pokemon, as far as I know. As far as I know, Pokemon, it's always about the Pokemons themselves and upgrading them.
Right.
Got to catch them all.
Yep.
But yeah.
That's all I know about Pokemon, pretty much.
So, Power World.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll give it a shot, because Tony will probably want to try it. So
I was going to say, I think you might enjoy it, at least for a little bit. Robin, do you have any intention of ever playing Power World?
No. So and as far as I'm concerned, I raced, and that was about it.
Okay.
I'm racing tonight, and I'm racing on Tuesday night, and I'm racing on Thursday night. I'm streaming tomorrow. Warriors Round 2, the very successful championship that we're running, is on Thursday evening. So yeah, just more. Now the big DLC week this week, there's new cars coming out and the thought of a new track, and I'll be all over that on Wednesday when I stream. So watch this space for me.
Okay. All right. Well, I know we are running a little long in the tooth. We want to move things forward. So, Robin, let's move into some news.
Here is the fucking news.
Pal World hits more concurrent Steam players than Cyberpunk and Elden Ring. Pal World has the hit with the 5th highest peak concurrent number of Steam players for any game in the service's history. That's according to an independent Steam aggregator, SteamDB, which collates data from Valve's storefront. Palworld, a survival game which made an impact on social media due to its initial trailer, which viewers described as Pokemon with guns, has reached a maximum peak of 1,262,087 concurrent players at the time of writing, which is over 200,000 more than Cyberpunk. Wow, there you are. You're on point.
Yeah, Palworld. Yeah. It is a thing, and looks like Dan might give it a go. John also from Joystick and Chill. Joystick and Chill says he might give it a go. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
there you go. Palworld. Look at that. 343 says Halo Infinite is done with Seasons as its shifts approach. Halo Infinite Season 5, released last October, will be the game's last. Developer 343 has confirmed. Instead, the studio is shifting its approach to an operations model starting on January 30th, in which it will offer 20 tiers of free unlockable rewards every 4 to 6 weeks. Halo Infinite's next free update, Operation Spirit of Fire, will add new customization options, a new map, Forge editions, and more on January 30th. The move away from a larger, long-running seasons represents a significant change for Infinite. Speaking during a live stream on Friday, 343 Senior Community Manager John Duzek emphasized that the company would continue to support Infinite in 2024. However, he confirmed that the studio is also working on new projects alongside the shooter. We're making a shift in how we are approaching Infinite going forward, he said. For Master Chief's Collection players, this is probably going to sound very familiar. The gist of it is we're no longer referring it to seasons, we're shifting away from seasons altogether, and Infinite doesn't really mean infinite at all.
No, it does not. I'm okay with this. I love the notion of these kind of shorter runs of quote unquote seasons. Mm-hmm. I love all of the different updates that they've been doing of late. I think that has really taken Halo Infinite into a positive light, but it definitely is not infinite. I'll be curious to see, hopefully this has staying power of being supported with patches, that kind of thing down the road.
Will there be another big Halo?
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited to see what 343 does next. I wonder if it's even going to be Halo related.
Probably not.
I'm sure it has to be.
Anyway, Sony, for the players, is refunding Last of Us 2 PS4 owners who bought the PS5 version at full price. Sony is reportedly refunding the Last of Us 2 PS4 owners who bought the PS5. Yeah, same thing. It seems some players weren't aware that there's an upgrade path that allows owners to last-gen version to buy the new PS5 one for $10 or £10. With that in mind, it's claimed that Sony has begun automatically refunding players who purchased The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered at the full price if they already owned the digital PS4 version of The Last of Us Part 2. Good for Sony.
I think it just wasn't clear in the Sony store that there was this $10 digital path for upgrading. So I think a lot of people that had the PS4 version thought that they had to buy the full PS5 version, obviously. Good on Sony. I'm glad to see that they're being proactive about it as well.
And there was an Xbox developer recap. So what did you think of that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the developer direct happened this past Thursday. I think all of us collectively got to it late. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we didn't get a chance to watch it in the moment. But, I think we can just kind of go through this. 5 games got revealed. Right. It started off with Avowed, then they showed off Sensu Saga Hellblade 2, then it was a cutaway to Visions of Mana, which is a new Square Enix game coming to the Xbox for the first time in 30 years.
Okay, wow, 30 years. Wow.
And then they went back to Ara History Untold, and finally they rounded out with Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. All of these games are coming in 2024, and I think that was one of the big elements to this is they all have promised a 2024 delivery date. So this kind of feels like outside of the Square Enix game, this is the bulk of Microsoft's first-party offering for 2024. Hellblade is coming May 21st, 2024. So that is really going to be the first big Xbox game. Although I'm curious to see if they do anything for Q1, because one of the One of the things Phil Spencer talked about before was having a big first-party release every quarter.
Right.
Doesn't seem like we have something in Q1 at all.
Interesting. Predictions here.
But Hellblade looks fantastic.
Indiana Jones, I heard good things about it.
Yeah, and we'll wrap on that. But first, Avowed looks good.
Right.
Didn't wow me, so I'm a little nervous about Avowed. I'm not gonna lie. Kim, any thoughts on Avowed or?
I'm like you. I was excited. I'm glad it's gonna be out. But the what they showed, I guess, of the gameplay is little. I don't know if I would say stiff or just a little. I don't know. It seemed a little funny to me for some odd reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe I expected more. I don't. But it almost seemed a little more Forspoken-y, and I like how
100%. I think that's a good comparison. I think hopefully that game is going to shine in the dialogue, the side quests, the quests, the kind of that interaction.
Right.
Obsidian tends to be very good with that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Our History Untold very much is a philism game. If you like Civilization, you will like this game. It's pretty much what this game is. It's a different version of Civilization coming to console and PC. Visions of Mana, 100% not a game I am at all interested in.
Nope.
It is very much a Square Enix type of game. Yay.
I didn't. Nope.
Indiana Jones.
I didn't like it one though.
That's the one that hit for me.
Right.
Hellblade 2 looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But Indiana Jones,
Uncharted type.
I was. It's not really even Uncharted though, because it's first person, so it feels different. It doesn't feel like a clone of Uncharted or Tomb Raider, so I like that. I think Troy Baker's doing the voice acting. Which he does a pretty good Harrison Ford. Because I found myself at first thinking, did they get Harrison Ford to do the voice acting? They couldn't have. There's no way they could afford him. So he does a fairly decent job of being Harrison Ford. And the Harrison Ford likeness in this game is really good. I'm excited for Indiana Jones. I want to see more. I've loved the Wolfenstein games outside of the one with the two sisters. So I Machine Games, I have all the trust in the world for them.
I just like Indiana Jones, so I'm all for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as don't cover.
But yeah, so that was the developers direct recap boiled down to Infinite. Okay.
Greg,
right.
I'm going to ask something here, and it's really bad of me. Can I ask that I don't want to rush through this.
We will hold
this off for next week, and we'll start with this because I don't want to rush through this because I do have things to say about physical media and AR and small developers. It's their chance for the year and stuff like that, and I don't want to rush through this. And I have to. I really have to move.
We're pressed for time, so we'll just kind of throw this out there. Next week we're going to do a prediction show.
Maybe I'll throw some more predictions.
We're going to talk about our predictions. Now, I am going to, Robin.
Yep.
And I'll do this quickly. Mm-hmm. I'm going to run through our predictions from 2023.
Oh, do that. Yes.
Yeah. So, we're going to start with you, Robin.
Okay.
In 2023, the start of the year, you said a PS5 Mini would be coming in 2023.
It came, but it was just it was failed. It flopped. Nobody heard about it.
Well, I was going to give you partial credit. They did announce the Slim. Yeah. It just hasn't come out yet.
And the thing that Pete bought, or I bought for Pete.
Yeah.
The wireless thing that he can play on his house.
Mm-hmm. True. They did come out with the
Portal Mini.
Yeah.
The Portal.
Yeah.
So
Sarah has one of those. She likes them. So.
Yeah, but we can't call that a PS5 Mini because you actually have to have a PS5 to play that.
I don't see that. Okay.
You did say Microsoft Activision would officially close. Yep. I think that was the easiest prediction ever. But it did officially close, although it did look a little dicey. Robin, you then said you would get 1,000 subscribers.
Didn't.
You're about 333 short.
I'm on the number of the beast. Yep,
but you're close. You're getting there.
Well, it's going.
Carry that over to next year.
Yep.
There we go. You also said Midlife Gamer will be resurrected from the dead.
Sad face.
Yeah, didn't happen.
No, there was talk.
All right, Pete. Pete said GTA 6, no date, but a big tease and trailer. 100% accurate. We didn't get the official date, but we did get the trailer. We got the year, 2025. So we give him credit. Cyberpunk, another major update to make it smoother for Pete only. It did get an update. It did, in fact, get DLC, the Phantom Liberty DLC. So I got to give him credit here. Pete kind of hit that one. And then Last of Us 3 will come in 2 years. We don't know.
No.
Because they have not announced The Last of Us 3. So, sorry, Pete. No credit for that. Kim, you said we'll get a Fable trailer with gameplay. We did get some gameplay with Fable.
Yep.
Now, this next prediction, Kim, I don't think you could have been more right and all of us being more disappointed. You said Redfall will be a bust with below 80 on Metacritic. Oh, my, oh, my. Yes, you absolutely nailed that. I think that Metacritic on Redfall is somewhere in the 50s, maybe low 60s at this point. Yeah. And then, Kim, you said the Elite 3 would get announced from Microsoft. It did not happen, Kim.
Might this year, though. Who knows?
No. And then my predictions.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's a little rough. I said Starfield would get released in June. That did not happen. It got released in September. I said the Last of Us multiplayer will be released in the holiday of 2023. Well, they canceled it in the holiday of 2023.
You were kind of close.
Greg.
Kind of right anyway.
I will take some credit here that mid-gen refresh leaks will start coming from sources, but not officially from Sony or Microsoft, which we have heard about these mid-gen consoles now coming, but they just haven't been officially announced. And then lastly, I'm actually happy this prediction did not come true. Robin gets arrested for public nudity in Vegas. It did not happen.
It's close.
It was close. There were moments, but no.
Let's not talk about the conversation we had this week.
So those are our predictions for 2023. Overall, I think you guys actually did really well. I think you guys had some great predictions. Kim, honestly, that Redfall prediction.
Wow.
Because we gave this again in January.
Right.
You nailed it.
I'm taking my notes. My notes are here.
All right. So we will carry this over. So the conversation will continue next week. We will give our predictions for the rest of 2024. Then have a little bit of fun with that. In the meantime, Kim, real quickly, what new releases are coming this week?
Alrighty. Yeah, your new releases for January 21st through the 27th are Graven for the PC, January 23rd. Howl for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, January 23rd. Immortality for PlayStation 5, the 23rd as well. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 25th. Hidden Through Time 2, Myths and Magic, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, January 25th. Hitman Blood Money Reprisal for the Switch on the 25th as well. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on the 26th. And last but not least, we have Tekken 8 for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. And apparently I didn't put a release date on that, but it must be somewhere fairly soon. Unless it's done. Yeah, because apparently I totally cut off the date there somewhere. But yeah, I'm assuming it's probably coming the 26th. Most of these are, so.
I'm actually shocked that Tekken is coming out in January.
Right?
It just seems like it's a big game that would hit later in the year, but
right.
Tekken also has kind of fallen. So, yeah. I don't think there's anything in here that I'm super excited for. I mean, I suppose I could try a Like a Dragon game one of these days.
Right.
But I just don't think I'm going to get along with it.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Okay.
That's it for the new releases. So
yeah, we're done with new releases. We're on to the community play dates. Right. Wednesday nights, if Mark is on, hallelujah, play with Mark. I will not be on this week. but obviously the community can still play games without us. But I will be traveling at that point. Robin, I know you have your racing happening, so let's talk real fast. What are your dates coming
all
up?
day tomorrow, Tuesday evening, all day Wednesday, Thursday evening, then next Sunday again.
All right,
excellent.
At bongosbits.com. And then Lethal Company, as in Friday Lethal Nights, 8 p.m. in the UK. Well, maybe 8 p.m., 9 p.m. ish. Hit Mark Hanix up, Mark Wright. He is leading that charge. And I'm really hoping I might be able to catch one of these Fridays and get back into the swing of it. It's just family life complications that's keeping me away from that. Okay, that's it for now. Hey, if you've gone this far, give us a shout out, give us reviews, subscribe, like the podcast. Come back next week because we'll be on again.
Yes.
We'll be doing the same thing again. We'll be talking next week about how the Chiefs lost.
No.
The Chiefs play tonight. That's a big game, Kim.
I know it is. I know.
Yeah. We've had some good surprises.
I know. I didn't expect the 49ers to pull it out of there, but they did.
They were able to pull it out last second.
My sister was pissed. She's a Packers fan, so.
Fuck the Packers.
That's what I said. Yeah.
But yeah, Baltimore also coming through with the big victory, so
right?
They look really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's the NFL talk for the moment.
Yep.
Come back again next week. In the meantime, shout outs. Robin, start us off.
Love it. Sorry I'm rushing you. My apologies tonight. Looking forward to next week doing all of the predictions. And I'll see you out there. Kim.
Alrighty. I'm going to shout out our shatters real quick again. Boomer, Harley Dan, Lord, Mark Hanix, RCGC, CP Matthew, and Major Revenge. Thanks for stopping by and keeping the chat jumping. It's always nice when there are people in there chatting away, so thanks for that. Other than that, I hope everybody's a good week. If I don't feel any better, I promise I will go to the doctor so I don't keel over.
Please do.
And thanks for you guys, and I'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Yep.
And on my notes, I will say thank you to both of you for being on the show this week. Always a great time. It's part of my therapy, and I needed therapy. It's been a rough few weeks. So
I'll bet.
Just being able to have friends, whether it be live in person or through the internet or over the phone, don't wall yourself off. That's the only thing I will say. That's the one piece of advice I can give. And on that note, we will wrap this up. Come back next week. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast. See you same time next week.
Sorry, guys, for rushing. I got to fly right now. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Toodles.
Cheers.